Welcome to this Times Techies Webinar. I'm Sujit John, and I have with me my colleague Shilpa Fadnis. The two of us will moderate the discussion. Our discussion today is on the untapped potential of AI in BFSI, banking, financial services, and insurance, and whether companies in the industry should buy AI talent or build such talent. We are doing this in association with online learning organization UNext Learning. BFSI invariably is the biggest and one of the fastest adopters of technology. And amongst technologies today, AI is clearly the one that everyone's most excited about. So in today's discussion, we are going to look at areas where BFSI is already using AI, areas where they could use AI, the challenges involved, and how to source AI talent to develop these great solutions. And to discuss this, we have with us very seasoned professionals. We have with us Rajiv Nair. Rajiv is a lead for industry networks in Accenture's advanced technology centers in India. He's also the global lead for technology in banking at Accenture. We have Sonali Subudhi. Sonali is chief data strategist at Experian. Experian is one of the world's largest credit bureaus. We have Balkrishna Singhania. Most call him Bala. Bala is EVP and head of digital at HDFC Life. We have Sumit Pokarna. Sumit is Vice President of IT at Kotak Securities. We have Ambrish Sinha. Ambrish is founding CEO at UNext Learning. And we have Sarita Digumarti. Sarita is Chief Learning Officer at UNext Learning. Those who are viewing this can send in questions through the Facebook comment box. Shilpa and I will put them to Rajiv, Bala, Sonali, Sumit, Ambrish, and Sarita. Starting with you, Sumit and Bala, since you represent the BFSI sector, of course, this Sonali also will come to her. But before that, how entrenched is AI in BFSI currently? Can you speak about a few use cases highlighting the progress over the last few years? Bala, you want to start?
Sure. So I would like to think that AI in some form or the other, where we had slightly less fancier terms for AI, analytics or modeling, etc. In some form or the other, BFSI sector has been one of the early adopters of analytics and data since ages, so more than 20, 30 years. So if you think of some marquee companies such as Capital One being one of them in US, which propagated the usage of this in a very successful manner. Over the times, I think what has happened is in the broader BFSI, and I'm not just talking about the life insurance, which I represent in this group, certain type of decisioning, especially like credit decisioning for retail customers, etc., has been pretty much through AI in some form or the other. And those actually have helped fuel the market in terms of adoption of these products. And a lot of what we see in the market, like loan on phone and so on, a lot of these products underlying have credit decisioning. Again, I'm giving the same example in a very automated fashion. So the decisioning itself is very, very fast because of that.
Credit decisioning meaning? Credit decisioning?
Meaning whether I should give you a loan or not, based on your credit profiles and other parameters. But other things such as from a marketing perspective, propensity models to say, who do I offer next? What do I offer you? And so on. What we also do see is over the last 3 to 5 years, lot of things on the text side, like NLP, bots, etc., have become more and more advanced. Right now, obviously, the flavor of the season is Gen AI, which I think all of us are figuring out what best to use it for. We also have some use cases in the HDFC Life that we are working on. Specifically, coming back to HDFC Life, specific use cases, we do have automated underwriting decisions for about 70% of the population now goes through what we call STP, straight through processing. And these models have evolved to a point of a very high level of accuracy. And the remaining 30% don't decline, but basically saying I need more information about the customer before I can take a decision. Some of these things not only bring efficiency, but also remove subjectivity from the decisioning process. But apart from this, not only during COVID, ITFC Life, we had many of these solutions pre that as well. Like we have life certificate for pension customers. I need your liveliness proof. You can do it on the phone. I have facial recognition. I can, if I do not have a good quality photograph of yours, I can ping Aadhaar database, of course, with your consent, match your photo, figure out liveliness, and so on. I can do a lot of those. I can do speech analytics. So for example, I have to audit certain type of calls for regulatory purposes. Earlier, we used to do, for example, 1% sample, 2% sample. Today, I can use speech analytics to say, is my call center following all the regulatory guidelines? And basically say, yes, it happened versus not happened. And without any manual intervention, all these audits get done. And these now get done at a significantly larger scale, to the extent that I can now use it also for the training purposes. Now, these are some of the examples that the industry is doing, but broader BFSI has far more number of applications, including in the area of investments, in the area of wholesale banking, and so on. So I can give you more examples. But,
we can come to those a little later. Yeah. So you said most of your decisions are now on claims processing is done by AI.
So claim processing is interesting. We process more than 90%, I don't remember the exact number, but more than 98, 99% claims are processed within a day.
Wow.
So all of that is possible by AI. And AI is also able to tell me which of these claims are likely to be fraud. And we are able to investigate those with a reasonable accuracy, actually.
Okay, very interesting. Sumit?
Yeah. So it's an extended BFSI. So we use AI more for predictive analytics, customer behavior analysis, data analytics, and visualization. The core to financial markets is if you can predict how the things will behave in the future, that is a lot of opportunity to make money out there, and your accuracy level is quite high if you do it correctly. So we have divided the time frame into short term, medium term, and long term. So right now the AI is helping us in short term and medium term. We need to work more on the longer term thing. So broadly, AI has definitely improved the customer experience at the same time, and the demand of the customer is that we want the latest technology which can help, which they can utilize to make more predictive analysis on their own. They believe that they should be empowered with these tools so that they make their own decisions rather than we putting up any decision on them. So now the new generation is very tech savvy. They know how to use these tools, and they want just ready-made tools which they can operate on their own. So, and in my industry, the most important is the predictive analytics, customer behavior. If you can read that, most of the things is covered out here.
Are people making more money now because of AI?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Shilpa?
Yeah, Rajiv, to bring you in from a technology perspective, what are some of the problems and issues that the BFSI sector faces, and how do you think your customers are leveraging AI to solve for these problems?
So, Shilpa, I'll just take you from what Bala and Sumit was talking about. If you see that the technology, how it has gone through this sort of evolution or revolution, however we call it, right? I think it started from a sort of a diagnosis from the data to look at what our clients are doing, our enterprise is doing, thereby predict and prescribe some next actions for them, right? And that's what it could be, mostly from a risk control perspective, the underwriting cases, the claims, the frauds, versus the kind of propensity facing the consumers, right? Now it is going to the next level, and we really see the analogy to it is as good as we say this is an iPhone moment in the mobile revolution. Okay, and that's the step change there, and it is coming in huge waves, and that wave you can broadly classify against the type of jobs and the tasks being done at our enterprise level. We did this recently published one report as well, which indicates that 40% of the working hours could be impacted by these technologies, the AI, Gen AI part. This does not necessarily mean that the 40% of the jobs get done. I'm talking about the working hours. So there is a structural shift towards a new type of work there. And what are the challenges we are going to address with that? You can take from the top line on the growth, where you talked about the propensity, which as good in a market like India is about expanding your customer base. And then how do you improve the lifetime value for the customer, right? How many services? It's not a hard selling part I'm talking about. It's a value to consumer, how much we could bring in that, right? Then the next part, when you look at the enterprise side, and it is very interesting to see how much we can automate and augment. And augment part is super important in this. It's not about human outside this loop, human in the loop, right? Some of our relationship managers, if you look at the data, majority of their time is actually going in collecting the data than actually, serving the consumers and customers, right? So the evolution of this data towards this technology towards a generative AI is bringing that power of intelligence to our actions, which is aligned to the human there. So you can assume every worker is getting a co-pilot. That scenario is fantastic that, you have a call center with disjointed application and they struggle towards to bring a common view to the consumer at that point of time. And so much of information flowing in can actually bring a co-pilot to them to bring the enterprise historical experience in the hands of a worker with a limited experience, right? I think that's a phenomenal change in enterprise. But most important thing, I think, in this adoption, we are seeing a larger view around not just about the business case. I think the regulatory and the risk impact. And that's why the responsible AI will come in a big way. And, Bala touched upon it on the bias, the discrimination, or the IP, the privacy. You can think about all that because whole Pandora's box is getting open. So in short, I think you look at the life cycle from an advice, or you create something new, content for our customers, or you code from the technology delivery perspective. The coding can be completely automated, heavily automated, or you get into the protect part of it, right? The risk regulatory part of it. I think we see the next wave of these use cases coming across financial services.
Thanks, Rajiv. Shonali, from a credit rating agency and a data analytics lens, how do you think companies like yours are leveraging and accelerating AI solutions within your scope of work?
Okay, so the BFSI sector faces several challenges that AI could potentially address. Let me give you some example. I'm just talking about a basic, like how AI is solving our basic BFSI sectors right now, the problem they are facing. Let's come to fraud detection. This is not limited to credit card fraud. Identity theft, you can say, insurance fraud, all those things can be now, solved by AI. So AI can analyze vast amount of data, identify the pattern, detect fraudulent activities in real time, actually, helping financial institutions to prevent losses and protect their customer. Going forward, second, you can say customer service and personalization. I think Sumit spoke about customer experience. So I think we all are experiencing on a daily basis. So AI-powered chatbots, virtual assistant can improve customization and service rate to customer through instant query response, handling their routine tasks, offering personalized recommendation based on individual financial behavior and preferences. Risk assessment, which is one of the most critical factor by any BFSI organization. I think Rajiv just mentioned about how important to actually take care of the risk and compliance. So AI algorithm can analyze complex data set within and between the layers. So provide more accurate risk assessment for loan approvals, investment decision, underwriting. You can name anything. I mean, it will come under risk assessment ambit actually. So this can help reduce default rates and improve overall stability of the entire financial institution. I'll talk about algorithm trading, algo trading, what we call now these days actually. So this is quite an interesting innovation in this field. So AI and ML can develop sophisticated trading algorithm that analyzes market trend, identify profitable opportunity and profitable segment, I can say, execute trade at a very high speed. So this can lead to improved trading strategy and higher return for the investor. So a couple of more things like regulatory compliance, credit scoring, anti-money laundering, market investment and analysis, cyber security is another critical factor for BFSI sector. So it is an open secret that BFSI sector is a prime target for cyber attack. So AI can strengthen cyber security measure by continuously monitoring the network, identify anomalies, responding rapidly to the potential threat. So if I need to, summarize top 5 issues AI can provide cutting edge technology solutions right now. I mean, in our experience, in my experience, I can say this is so this is like fraud detection, improved and speed customer service, improved risk management, algo trading, cyber security. So in fact, the technology continue to advance. AI's potential impact on financial industry is likely to grow even significant in the coming years.
Lots of possibilities there. We'll go a little deeper into that a little later. But before that, let me ask Ambrish and Sarita, I mean, the kind of talent that is required to build all of these solutions. I mean, it looks like there are plenty of possibilities in terms of solutions already, of course, some being deployed, many more possible. In terms of BFSI firms in India equipped in terms of talent to create these solutions, Ambrish?
Yeah, thanks, Ajit. Yeah. So yeah, I think some of this point has been touched upon. I think in the BFSI space, in my view, I think it is one of the few industries that has already adopted technology in a big way. I have spent some formative years of my career early in financial services, so I've seen that happen. Second is especially related to AI, data is the key. And banks, mutual funds, insurers, security companies, the kind of data that they sit at is just phenomenal. And if you look at the generative AI models and the large language models, I think for the banks and financial services companies, I think they have in a much sweeter spot to leverage AI, benefit from AI, and they have more challenges to solve in AI because of the data moat that they have. And they can train their version of LLMs on these data sets. Now, coming back to the second point, the talent. So in that also, I feel the BFSI space could be, in my view, divided into kind of 2 parts. The large organizations, the top 10 odd players, they already have been investing heavily in recruiting data scientists, a lot of engineering talent, and they have in place base level models in AI, data science, machine learning. So they are well equipped. But mid-level companies, I think, will need to train talent. They'll also might have to acquire some talent from outside because that will bring in a different perspective on things, whether it is risk management, whether it is revenue generation, whether it is credit underwriting. So in summary, I think BFSI industry in India is well equipped, especially the larger players. But the smaller and mid-sized players, I think, will have to invest. And the larger players, because they have so much data, maybe AI research is something that they have not focused on. I think the larger players in the space should have a research wing apart from having only data scientists or machine learning experts, but they should have a small research arm because AI is a very nascent field, It's like saying that you overestimate the technology in the short run, but underestimate it in the long run. I think for the larger firms, that should not be the case. So I think both need to invest maybe a little bit more on talent retraining.
Research on what, Ambrish?
Sorry?
Research on what?
Research on large language models trained on the data which the banks have. Like if you look at the biggest use case that I saw, which was popularized heavily, is like Bloomberg building a Bloomberg GPT for trading. So I think our friend from Kotak and Sonali also touched upon algo trading, etc. So this Bloomberg GPT is a classic case, 50 billion data points they have trained their LLM on. So this can happen with a research mindset. It cannot be done exclusively by the existing set of team members who are only working as data scientists. It requires a slightly more different perspective,
Yes, Sonali, you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, Amrish actually explained it very well. I would like to add one point, research and training actually. So very honestly, in BFSI sector, we don't want everyone to be a data scientist, but everyone should understand data and they should actually use the data because I mean, as he mentioned, like $50 billion they are spending, but the ground person should actually use it in a proper way. So also training is very important. So lots of big organization, top 10 organization are training the entire organization like to use the data in a proper way. So that is establishing a very strong data culture. So this is
Data
what
culture. Okay.
I feel.
Sarita?
Thank you. So just echoing a couple of points that Amrish made and some of the other panelists have made, including Rajiv. I think banks are definitely, at least the larger banks, international banks, private sector banks, certainly more ready for AI because they have the data governance frameworks in place. They have data lakes. They've invested heavily in it. They're doing, I think, a fair amount of data science ML on an ongoing basis for for a lot of use cases. And of course, in India, we have a very vibrant fintech, sector that is leading innovation quite a bit. I think the one thing that I would maybe add in terms of the talent space is that I think there is going to be, as Rajiv mentioned, there is potential for some of this AI that we are seeing now to completely change how work is done. So in the short run, yes, while AI skills are a continuum in the data science, machine learning, and so on space, I think in the medium to long run, there will be very different and specialized roles that will come up because of AI. And maybe some of that we are still not thinking about. So for example, are we thinking of people who can specialize in AI and ethics? Because that is going to start becoming very, very important. Are we thinking of people that can, take a black box model, which is typically what your AI models are, and can they make them more explainable? Which, of course, in something as regulated as BFSI becomes very important. You need to be able to explain your credit decisioning, to a regulator. So I think some of that, people, for example, now because of generative AI and all the conversation around it, they understand prompt engineering. People are talking about it, but there will be more and more specialized roles, that I think we are not thinking about. And how do you develop that talent? Where are you going to source it from? How are you going to develop that? I think that does require some amount of thinking.
Okay, some amount of thinking. Shilpa?
Yeah, this question is both Rajiv and Bala. What are skill sets needed at various levels in the organization if you have to really look at AI solutions that need to be organically developed and deployed?
Yes, Sarita mentioned some of those, but yeah.
So
Go ahead, Rajiv. Bala is going. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I think at the more senior level, understanding the underlying use case and understanding the linkage between what analytics will produce and what business decision will I derive from that. That is very, very key because a lot of output from the models, we hear about it all the time that X percentage, someone quotes X, could be anywhere between 70 to 80% of these models often don't get used. And it is because we don't often link the outcome with a business strategy and business action. So you cannot expect a hardcore talent to think about the use case, especially if they are new joining in an organization. At a grounds level, what is important is to, I think, two parts. One, understand the data itself. What we always say, you should be able to touch and feel data. When someone shows you the numbers, you should not only just say, hey, I have run my scripts, whether it is in Python or something else, and therefore it must be correct. Rather than that, you should also have a sense saying, oh, my company have 5 million credit card, and if each card has so much outstanding, and therefore the total outstanding must be this. And if it doesn't fall in a ballpark number, chances are you have done the problem or the data was wrong or something else is wrong. That sense is equally important. Today, data science as a field has 3-4 different components. One is predictive analytics is one. What we see AI, ML, and to some extent Gen AI is changing some of the game here. So some of those skills are very much trainable, especially if someone comes from a software background. So you don't need to learn programming, you need to learn the nuances of the packages, etc. What's again I'm re-emphasizing is important is to link the problem that you are trying to solve with the underlying AI. That's the hard part, because in the training, you need to practice in some sense what you are doing, and that's probably one of the most critical part. And in organizations, I think that's what we also try to train people on in terms of saying you must understand. So some of our core business trainings are also what, say, a data scientist do. Last bit, and probably not the least, along with AI comes data engineering. The data has to be available in a particular format. It goes beyond the BI reporting mechanism. So you, for example, we are building what I would just roughly call a ML dashboard, AI ML dashboard, or AI ML warehouse. Uh, Getting that data in a format that is usable at a scale, that's very, very important, because I just feel that a lot of companies are just gathering the data, storing it in a way that they don't know how to use it. So data engineering becomes more and more important, and it goes hand in hand with the core AI. And these are the things that we need to train people, we need to hire those talents, and then give them the context of our respective business to make most sense out of it.
Okay. So domain knowledge is a critical thing as well. Yeah. Rajiv?
Yeah, I'll just expand that point. I think if you look at it, this is the business and technology coming together here. It's not a technology transformation. If you take AI as a case, to Bala's point that so what and what is a business case, that's the first underlying principle to it, right? So when we talk about it, this is a business adoption across the enterprise. It's not a technology implementation, which means this sort of skill set start from the top of the house, right from the boards to CEOs to the last mile within the enterprise, right? The percolation of that technology quotient across that enterprise is absolutely required for a right business adoption. Okay. Now let's see what is their core and others, right? Bala touched upon data as the core part. I completely agree with that. And many of the enterprises today need to transform the entire data foundation itself. And when you say data, there is a time sensitivity to data, right? It can get obsolete. So how do you get into the evergreening data foundation layer is an important part to it. This requires engineers in a continuous mode. This requires data scientists to apply or consume the data and make it ready for the business to consume, right? So engineers and the data, the consumption or scientists, you see these are the two parts definitely coming on the data. Now, where is the data sitting there? We are talking about, the Bloomberg case we are talking about, right? We are talking about a multinodal data coming up, billion attributes coming to this. And that's the next thing for AI today. And where does it come? We need high computing power, right? We need high storage for it. And that's where the whole cloud stack coming to this piece, right? So that's the second part to it. And this is a continuum. Now, when we expose this data, the security cyber part is becoming more important to it, right? And you look up the privacy angle to it, the compliance, the legal part comes to it. So I would rather say this is a confluence of skill coming together while data in the center. And this reduces the distance between business and technology. So the domain color on top of this technology is absolutely required for to make it sustainable and relevant for the business.
What would your advice be to youngsters still doing their engineering and all that, Rajiv?
Yeah, start from the top, right? I think while the foundational part is definitely required, continuously ask that where we can apply. It's not technology for technology. There is a value for it. And by the way, the other side of the technology is that due to the high computation to it, we are even talking about the sustainability angle of these technologies also. So make a case for it and apply to that scenario. So I would rather take a customer first, business first approach for technology to solve a practical challenge or for growth rather than just experimenting in technology continuously.
Can I add something, if it's okay?
Yeah, okay, quick one, Bala.
Yeah, in quick, one thing I would just say is what I do see a lot of talent, young talents, especially those coming from software, learn Python packages and say, I'm a data scientist as well. You need to understand the business cases. You need to understand what you are doing. Otherwise, you will essentially become a Python programmer and not a data scientist in true sense. And it requires you to what I think each one of us are saying, understand the context of the business. And if you don't, you will end up essentially becoming a programmer, just you are programming different things.
Okay. Sumit, are you having problems with your connection?
Yeah, some network issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, I mean, so you tell us, I mean, how are you developing your skill sets for this? I mean, are you upskilling your employees? Are you getting new talent from outside?
So it's a mix and match thing, because a lot of upskilling is definitely required with the team, and that we are doing it. But at the same time, we are also looking for fresh talent from the industry or other industries, which can give us more insights how to do it more efficiently and quickly. So point is not right now is not that we should focus on in-house or outside. The point is we should get the right mix.
We lost.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think Sumit is having problems with his. There. Sumit, can you hear us? Sumit, otherwise, Shilpa, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe you can just bring in Sonali and Sarita till Sumit joins back. How important is the BFSI domain knowledge as a skill set for technology roles? Is this a key consideration, especially in the build versus buy conundrum for the AI talent? Sonali or Sarita, who wants to go first?
For certain roles within BFSI industry, having domain knowledge can be highly valuable. I think Bala just mentioned, like, you need to have domain knowledge, not only the coding skill or something. So this is especially true for the role that involves building and maintaining software and system directly related to banks, financial service provider, or insurance companies. So I'll just call out couple of like profile I can say. So business analysts, for that matter, need to understand the business process and requirements to effectively translate, I mean, the business into a technical specification. For that matter, solution architect, which profile is completely different. They must design software and system that align with the unique needs and constraint of the BFSI industry. When it comes to data scientist, domain knowledge can help data scientists better analyze the financial data, identify patterns, develop models on fraud detection, or maybe customer behavior, or maybe market campaigns. And similarly, cyber security specialists, they require knowledge of specific security challenges, regulation faced by FSI industry, and obviously robust security measure, how they can implement robust security measure. Now coming to build versus buy paradox, I call it a paradox actually for AI talents. So I believe there cannot be a broad brush approach, rather localized decision based on the key determinants of the requirement. Some example I can just come to my mind rapidly. So it depends on the complexity of the situation. See, if the AI solution needed are highly specialized and deeply integrated into your BFSI domain, building an in-house maybe a more, in-house solution, you can say, a team that is more viable option. Second, security and compliance. We all work in a BFSI industry. We know how regulated it is. So BFSI institution handles sensitive customer data and must comply with the strict regulation of our central bank, RBI. So in such cases, building solution in-house allows more control over the data security and compliance adherence, you can say. Having said this, so time to market is another critical factor. So buying existing AI solution can significantly reduce time to market. So especially for standardized and widely used application, you can say. So there we can look for like, outside, we can take some service from outside, or maybe a secured service from outside, something like that. So cost consideration is another big factor. So building AI solution in-house can be very costly, both in terms of development time and resource required. So buying solutions sometimes is like, cost effective, I can say. Even better, there is a hybrid approach. So to elaborate this, let me explain how typically we go and establish a strong, modernist, data-driven, organization where AI plays a very important role here. So there are three components to it. One is a backward integration, one is a forward integration, and keeping the highly regulated and complex core BFSI operating model at the center. So backward integration, I mean, in a layman term, the processes that are executed behind the curtain, like data architecture, collecting internal or alternate data, you can say, managing seamless data integration, breaking the data silos, quality management, data quality management, putting a strong governance in place, or maybe adherence to risk and compliance parameters, cyber security. So in the forward integration, similarly, who actually works in a front line, like sales and marketing, customer acquisition, so and servicing, CRM, fraud detection, risk monitoring engine, algo trading. I mean, obviously, forward integration also includes basically the establishing a strong data culture, how the whole bank can use end-to-end system. And as I mentioned, in the middle, there is a highly regulated, complex BFSI structure. So if you ask me, this is my personal opinion. So BFSI knowledge is required, specifically when we are actually designing, implementing something in our backward, I mean, which will be integrated with the core, like BFSI operating model, which we may wish to build internally. And for forward integration, we can procure resource services and help a build operate model, something like that externally, keeping the complexity of the solution, talent availability, and reduced expected go-to-market timeline. So that's what I meant by maybe a hybrid system. So this is what I can actually put together for a hybrid system.
Different requirements. Okay. Sumit is still trying to join, I think.
Yeah, we can bring
Sarita, Kamlesh, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I think carrying on the build or buy AI, or what are the best ways to develop AI talent in BFSI, I think a few quick points from my end, and I think others also have shared. Of course, internal training and skilling is the best way out. Identify people in your teams who are working already on data, like data engineers, data scientists, or people having an aptitude for data, and then build onto them as part of these teams. I think another thing could be to augment talent would be collaborating with edtech platforms as well as educational institutes. We have some use cases where we have worked with enterprises where we have been able to get the boost, because this is a new and emerging tech field, AI, especially Gen AI. I think some work from research institution or academic institutions will be required to train talent here. And that's another area. Innovation challenges in the companies. I think hackathons and all have been done since last decade or so, but some innovation challenges around use cases, get the cross-functional teams together. I think partnerships also will be an important play for talent to augment talent in the companies. I think the go-to-market has to be fast for BFSI space. It's a super competitive space in India. So how do you hiring some specialists through partnerships or acquisitions could be another model where we could train people apart from engaging consultants or partners like us. Another important aspect in building talent and versus build or buy, or whichever way you look at it, there is no right answer, is also looking at synergy of talent, especially for large organizations. I have seen in my past life also that getting external consultants, etc., for projects, it works on business use cases. But now here we are talking once in a generation kind of a technology. So synergy with partners, whether it is your training partner, talent partner, or maybe some other external consultant, that also is very, very important, because BFSI is a heavily regulated industry, So trust with the partner, both on the training side of employees, as well as building more partnerships and acquisitions. I think that should also be looked at. We should not only do one part, but both have to go hand in hand, because this technology, to my mind, will change rapidly. We, being an tech company or learning company ourselves, are learning every day. So I can imagine the challenges when you're doing both, driving business use cases and bringing your talent to speed with this new technology.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarita. Yeah, especially, I mean, when suddenly generative AI came up, what kind of changes did you have to do?
Yes, and how quickly do you need to do those changes? I just wanted to add one thing to this build versus buy kind of conversation. I've worked in data science for a very long time, so I am definitely a firm believer in domain knowledge being important. But clearly, in some instances, you will have to get outside talent, especially because you need some quick wins. And while you build that expertise, you can't wait for that to happen before the quick wins happen. But this in the build versus buy conversation, one important thing to remember is also culture, because especially if you want to bring in people with cutting edge AI talent outside of, let's say, BFSI, what is going to make them interested in working for let's say a slightly more traditional environment, right? And that can be something that that can lead to failure points if you don't think about culture and the ability to kind of really enable cutting edge innovation in the AI space in a slightly more traditional environment. So build versus buy is important, but there is going to always be some mix of buy depending on the maturity of the organization, but it's not as straightforward. You do have to think about the cultural aspects and making sure that there is enablers there for this to work.
So Gen AI is now an integral part of everything that you teach now?
Absolutely. And the thing with Gen AI, hype apart, I think there are two broad areas, right, within Gen AI. So one, Gen AI and AI solutions, there is a lot of AI assisted productivity improvements that you can do, which is available to the larger workforce, right? So they don't have to become Gen AI experts in terms of developing Gen AI solutions, but certainly much more improvement in productivity and efficiency, and like code, some of the examples that we've heard today using Gen AI solutions. And of course, then there is the smaller but equally important set of people that are working on building Gen AI solutions for your own business, and both we are seeing interest in.
Okay, I think Sumit's video and seems to have stabilized. Sumit, go ahead. I mean, we're discussing questions around build versus buy, and yeah.
So what we are doing is definitely we are upskilling our core team. At the same time, we are hiring fresh talent from the industry, because we also want to understand what's going on outside, and getting new brains is always required in certain pockets. So we have been selective. It's not that 100% we are hiring outsiders, but upskilling is definitely going on. One point which Sarita rightly mentioned is the culture, which we have also noticed. Cultural differences that needs to be seen, though we are a very employee-friendly organization.
Oops. Did we lose Sumit again? Yeah.
I think Rajiv has a point, Sujit. Rajiv.
Yeah, Rajiv, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Sujit, I was just taking up the point of build.
Okay, Sumit, we'll come back to you. Rajiv is just making a point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is not a build versus buy scenario. My thinking is this is build, buy and build. And why? This is all you're talking about the time and value. That's what it is, right? I think if you see the whole compression happening onto it, how fast we can deliver greater value to our business and consumers. If that happens, there is a synergy between buy and build. And that means you will still consume the talent available in the market. At the same time, you will create talent within the enterprise also. It's a mix of both, right? And that confluence will bring a fresh blood into this thinking, and we need not go back to our reference frame, right? You look at all the new age companies over there, what average age could be what? Less than 25 years, 24 years. And the kind of thinking they can still challenge that why this process is this way, why can't we do it the other way, right? And which we have been doing in a way, so there is a traditional thinking of our process flows to it, and there could be a way to think outside the box also. So I think it's a combination of it. It's never been and or versus sort of scenario.
Okay, I think that's the point I think Sumit was also making. Sumit, go on, you can complete your point. Sumit, you're muted.
Yeah. So what he is rightly Rajiv highlighted is that it's how fast you can deliver to the customer. Time is very important in our industry. If you are not doing it, somebody else will be doing it. So you will win, you will lose in the race. So timing is very crucial, and that is what we have been taking care of, and that is why we are taking outside talent also, because we want to cater to our clients as early as possible. That has benefited us a lot in the current scenario, and we expect this trend to continue going forward.
Okay. Generally, I mean, from whatever we hear across colleges, and all that, everybody firstly wants to go to only computer science, and then within computer science, again, everybody rushing for these AI courses and all that. Is that a good thing? Are there so many jobs available? Sarita, you want to take that?
Sure. So, are there so many new jobs available? Perhaps not. Because again, like I said, when we're talking about AI, I think it's important to understand that a lot of work in the short run is going to be how do you integrate AI assisted tools into your regular work. Whether it is basic email writing, improving your code, getting your research done faster. There is a lot of help and support that you can get from AI assisted tools that I think will become that employers will expect people to have, right? So that certainly I think all of us need to get skilled on leveraging some of these AI assisted tools and fairly fast. But yeah, in the long run, I think like Rajiv said, it has the potential to impact 40% of the working hours. It's going to be very, very different. And are we going to be ready for it? Or we will run the risk of being obsolete. So yes, everybody needs AI training. Everybody doesn't need training on how to build a generative AI model. Obviously, that is overkill. But certainly, AI literacy, like Sonali said, data literacy, AI literacy, taking advantage of some of the new tools that are available to improve productivity, to stay competitive. I think that is definitely going to be critical, and it is going to be increasingly an expectation that people who come in for programming, for example, roles are able to leverage some Copilot like tools to write better code, to improve efficiency, to do it faster, certainly.
Okay. Shilpa?
I think
Yeah, Bala.
Yeah, I was just going to add a couple of things which becomes important from the organization perspective sooner than later. For many of the AI stuff, figuring out what is the running cost of a particular application. Because one of the things that we partly burned our hands is if these underlying servers are not provisioned properly, you end up in a situation where AI suddenly is costing far more and so on. So the most successful developers, especially when you talk about slightly senior, is one who will have the full holistic picture in terms of what you are doing. What I mean by that is you need to obviously understand business, what you are doing, why you are doing. AI will tell you how to do it, etc. But at what cost? Am I doing the right servers? Or is it truly optimized in a way that is actually giving me a business CBA in a true sense and so on? So all of these things are pretty important. And on the other question on buy versus build, I have slightly not necessarily contra, but slightly different way of answering that question. And the way I generally look at it is, if it is becoming a mass technology, I would rather buy. One, it means that the competition in the market ensures that I get a decent price to start with, and I can't differentiate myself on that particular technology anyways. So we have a very good way to engage startup ecosystems and so on. So we try to basically keep engaging and do commercial engagements with those where we think it adds value. But anything which, for example, underwriting model we discussed, or a couple of years back, having a life certificate app on the website was a differentiator for us, at least for a while, before everyone copied it. Figuring out the differentiators is the key, and getting those implemented is something we generally do. And wherever we believe that the running, something where there are a lot of changes that are happening. For example, our product configurations keep changing in insurance because of how these are heavily dependent on interest rates and everything else. So some of those, just giving it in the hand of vendors just doesn't work out because of the speed at which it need to go, and somewhere there is some sort of an IP angle to it. And one of the things, again, we try to do is, while we may buy, any customization that we do, we try to ensure that the development is done on my environment, so that IP and data privacy, data security issues, all of that doesn't happen, or at least it's minimized. So that's my summarized view, if it answers.
Okay. Shilpa?
Yeah. So Nari, to bring you in on the same skilling aspect, upskilling, cross-functional training, if you can help us understand how you are seeing it.
Sonali, you're muted. Huh?
Sorry. So, yes, you are talking about build versus buy?
No, in terms of, skilling, AI skilling, what kind of opportunities that you see in the market?
Okay. AI upskilling. Let me talk about a couple of like use cases. Maybe we spoke about credit reporting, or maybe securities are growing. This is a quite interesting space. So we need AI specialists who can actually work on a like, if you talk about securities, like digitization and tokenization. So security trading is and ownership could become increasingly digitized and tokenized using blockchain, streamlining the trading process, increasing the liquidity and reduce the transaction cost. So these are the new age AI, like AI intervention. These are I'm talking, and I'll come to the point how the AI analyst can actually take care of all this. So second point, I can talk about automation in AI in trading. So AI and ML, algorithm driven security trading, are leading to more efficient data driven investment decision, I can say. RegTech, which is like regulatory technology, which is quite important now these days. The security industry will continue to adopt, automate the RegTech solutions to comply with the complex and everyday evolving, trust me, it is everyday evolving regulation, improving compliance and risk management, and sustainable and impact investing. That is environmental, social, and governance criteria will have more takers among investors now these days, which is very close to my heart, actually, this subject. So finally, I can talk about the global collaboration and market integration. World, I can tell you, world being a global village, I can say technology will enable more efficient cross-border security trading or settlement, fostering greater collaboration and integration in the global financial model. So these are the AI, I'll tell you the AI intervention right now within the security domain, or maybe arena. Similarly, for credit reporting, I think we all spoke about enhanced data analytics, AI, generative AI, how it is actually modernizing and helping us to handle massive data availability, credit reporting. Because I belong to the same industry. Will have further invest. All the organization will further. Though credit rating agencies are quite well, modernized, because we handle the massive data in India, being though what is the size of population. So we use handle massive data. Still, we have to further invest in advanced analytics and AI space. Alternate data, which is quite important right now. So traditional credit reporting primarily relies on credit history. But in future, maybe, I'll take it right now also, agencies will tend to incorporate alternate data sources such as utility payment, rental history, affluence factor for that matter, your even social media behavior, to build more comprehensive and inclusive credit profile. So my inclusive, like end-to-end credit profile. Real-time reporting, obviously everyone knows real-time reporting. Blockchain technology and data security, I just mentioned about that, how important it is. We have to establish a very, strong blockchain technology and data security. Personalized finance and guideline. So these are quite important field where actually AI is a very important intervention now these days to serve and feed these global trends. I believe demand for the following skill will intensify maybe in future, especially data scientist. I think Bala just mentioned very clearly how we can have a better data scientist, not only a coder, not only understand the business. So they have to harness the big data and utilize the machine for human-like decision making and risk management. So it is very important they should understand the business. Cybersecurity expert, blockchain specialist, because they implement secure transaction or checks and balances. Ethical AI and compliance specialist. I think Sarita just mentioned about ethical AI or compliance. We have to have ethical AI and compliance specialist who can actually use the technology and create proactive safety solution against the hacker. Sustainable and ESG experts. So to produce sustainable and green investment solution. So if I have to summarize, the future of credit reporting or securities or maybe any other, like BFSI sector will continue, and if not accelerated technology advancement and innovation actually to continue to the next level. And these are I'll give you a small example here. So couple of years back, if I have to be a data scientist, it was required there are 3 skills. If I'm aware of 3 skills, I can be a data scientist or maybe an analyst, business analyst. Right now, at this point of time, we need almost 11, at least 11. Skill set to become a data scientist. So you can imagine how it is growing, like the skill set, how it is growing. We need to know, we need to understand data, we need to understand business, we need to understand, tech and everything. So holistic understanding is very important. So organization will invest more in data analytics, training, AI, blockchain, digitization to stay competitive and secure and futuristic in meeting consumer need, which is very critical. As a result, there will be a strong demand for skilled professional who can navigate and contribute to this rapidly changing field. So
a lot of different skills required today. Okay.
Yes.
So well, can you look forward a little coming years? In your industry, what are the new solutions that AI could help develop?
Sujit, I can talk about a holistic credit score.
Can I just bring in Sumit for a minute? Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I'll come back to you, Sumit.
Hello.
Yeah, Sumit.
Yeah. So can you just repeat your question? There was some network issue.
Just looking a few years ahead, the kind of solutions that can come in your area in securities.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, as I mentioned right now, that clients are looking for technology which can give a leg up to them as compared to others. Traditional methods of investing or traditional methods of making money has already been discovered for long. Now, if you can get a technology edge with those all possible factors or of analyzing, predicting consumer behavior, predictive analysis, and give me a tool which can help me make better
investments. I think we are losing you again, Sumit. Oops. Oh, Sumit.
Better decision or informed decision. For that, algo trading has come, in terms of which will take care of your fundamentals and technique. Yeah, I will repeat it. So now,
maybe you can switch off your video, Sumit. No. Sumit, Sumit, we can't hear you. No, I think Sumit is still trying to speak.
Latest technology AI.
Sumit, we are unable to hear you. There's something wrong with the line.
I think he's struggling.
Yeah. Rajiv,
Available. what we are doing is we are combining the fundamentals and the technicals and bringing them in.
Sumit, okay, we missed. We will talk to you later. I think Sumit, your line was a bit of a problem. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed a lot of what you had said. We missed quite a bit of what you had said.
Yeah. So what I was mentioning is that algo trading is one of the immediate ones which comes to my mind, and which clients are very happy with because that can help them in making quick money. At the same time, the accuracy level is quite high in certain cases. If the logics has been put correct, then there is a lot of potential. As I mentioned, that the new generation guys, they don't want your ideas. They will say, I know what I have to do. Just give me a tool. Don't teach me. I am well informed, well educated. I have full resources to understand it. I will apply my brain and I will do it. Just give me those algos and I will play on that. And that is working for them. So they're all happy and we are also happy.
Okay. Rajiv, you are making a point?
No, I think I was just seeing, to your question on what is there for the next generation, somebody
Right.
coming up and seeing the demands, right? I think let's understand some of the truth and facts here, right? One part is the shelf life of all those skills are getting compressed, right? Which means always be ready to get into multiple skills, right? And that's what we heard that, initially 4 skills, now 11 skills, all that is required for one type of role. So what do? I think it's about learnability, right? Keep your minds open to learnability part and see what is the continuous learning path for you. It's super important, right? If we had this discussion, Sujit, 4 years back, 3 years back, we would not have discussed prompt engineering as a discipline itself, right? Many things are coming here. So whether the academic curriculum are changing in that phase, answer is no, right? And the way to do that is to keep your continuous learning always as a priority for you and look at what else could be added to make relevance for the business we are talking about. And it's not just about BFSI, you take any industry, right? And that's where the application of that knowledge is very important, where it's actually going, what else need to be done. So leverage all the opportunities to learn from your community, from any other methods available, beyond your textbooks, right from the industry, whatever is available, right? And that's the way forward. I think the shelf life is absolutely compressed.
Is that, Ambrish, are you seeing that in your students? Are they all continuous learning types, or they have to be told, then they need to be always ready to be for changes?
I think, Sujit, I think a clear change has happened, especially, I think, in the last 3-4 years. With COVID, I think this online learning has resonated in a big way in the higher education segment, I would say, and especially professionals. Because when work from home, they could manage, I think the learn from home thought also seeped in well. And that has also benefited them as well as companies like ours who are an online learning company. So I feel that they are continuing to upskill and reskill. The younger folks, especially those who have even come out of campuses. In fact, today morning only we were discussing how are some of our product managers are now doing courses on their own, something I wouldn't have hoped for. These are guys coming out of good B schools and good engineering schools, and 3-4 years as product managers in our team or engineering managers are looking to go to the next big thing. Second point, I would like to allude to the point that you said about everybody going towards computer science and all. I think the way to look at this whole AI, whether BFSI or any other sector, is for younger folks and for people in industry at every level. I'm not into ageism as such, is that you follow where the talent is going, where the younger talent is going. I think that's where you see a lot of innovation and new industries happening. And I think Gen AI is at that cusp. Last point from my side would be, we have been also grappling with Gen AI. And I think the way I look at it is it's like the development of any new technology. It is not exactly about joblessness or jobs getting lost. I think the professions will be lost and new professions will emerge. What those new professions will be is where I cannot make a guess, but that's where the development will go, And I think technology has a way of disappointing the optimist and the pessimist. So my view on Gen AI and leading it forward is there. So I think we should continue to upskill and reskill ourselves, continuous learning, and new professions will emerge and new use cases will emerge. And I think that's the way to look at this whole process and not get a little bit scared by it, because many of my conversations are around this scaremongering around AI. I think that's not the way to look at it. And that's a little bit longish answer to your short question.
Okay. I know we're out of time. Last words from you. I mean, we often have a young audience listening to all this and reading us on Times Techies. So message to the youngsters. Bala, starting with you.
I think the only message I would say is keep learning. There is no shortcut, and keep applying yourself. That's the way to go.
Okay, Sumit.
So I will say that this AI is looks like it's a 21st century thing, but it is not so. It has been coming for ages now. We have been building bases. Some new things will keep coming in the future, this going forward. So, but use these tools in your interest. Make you have your intelligence plus your technology is helping to support you. So it can act as a co-pilot for you. Make use of it and just create your wealth for yourself.
Okay, AI as a co-pilot. Sonali.
For the younger audience, like I would request them to understand the core, whatever problem they want to solve, understand the core. It is not only BFSI. Someone might be in the medical industry, medicine industry, someone might be in the aviation industry, someone would be like the, Alexas or Bixby's in the world, in that industry. So understand the core and implement. So there is a way forward to offer all of us. So cheers.
Way forward for all of us. Rajiv, you want to add anything more to what you
I think
said?
the simple thing, don't get worried about anything. Okay, the future is absolutely bright. It depends upon how you take it. Every problem has a solution. The way we look at will create solutions. So wherever you are, you try to keep your open mind and make it relevant to the place where you are working and where you are aspiring to go. That's what it is. Don't worry about that. Its future is absolutely bright.
Sarita?
I think I would just say that, at the core of everything that we do in a professional workplace is adding value, right? If you are solving a problem and adding value, and you're focusing on making sure you have the skills to help you do that, then I think you're good. A lot of these, the tools come and go and the toolbox keeps continuously expanding, but, focus on the fact that you have to add value, and then I think we are all set.
Amrish?
I would say to the younger folks, be fearless. New technologies will keep coming your way, and embrace those challenges. And that's what makes life meaningful and your work meaningful and your professional life fulfilling. So that's what I would say.
Thanks a lot. So that's a lot of interesting messages there. AI, of course, great technology, and BFSI, numerous applications emerging, already happening, and lots more will come. And as many of you said, the tools will keep changing. You have to be prepared for all of those changes. Look at solutions. New professions will keep emerging. So tap into those, and there's a bright future for everybody. Thank you all so much, Rajiv, Bala, Sumit, Sonali, Sarita, Amrish. Really nice having all of you on this platform. Hope to have you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.